All right. Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome. I am Kay Wilson, and I am the lead consultant here with Northern Connections Canada Immigration. Welcome to our immigration weekly live updates. Good day. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Um, so, this is our weekly immigration update session. We were absent for the last 2 weeks, and so I'm glad to be back with you guys today. And I'll just get right into it. And as you guys are hopping in, please do let me know where you're joining me from. Let me know in the comments where you guys are joining me from today. I see folks trickling in. All right, so I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna start with the PNP draws, the recent draws. So one of the most recent is British Columbia. So as you know, BC tends to have very frequent draws, and so they had a draw just yesterday, April 12th. And in this draw, BC invited quite a few candidates. So a number of invitations were issued um, to candidates in different categories. So they had a draw where they issued 124 invitations, and these were issued to. This was a targeted draw rather. And it was issued to tech workers, right? So this is a tech draw. As you know, BC has a tech category where they select tech workers from about 29 different tech occupations that are in demand in BC. And so these were the 87 was the minimum score and 124 candidates, right? Then the next one is same BC. So they had another draw. They had about 4 draws that day. And so for the other one, there were 24 invitations. This draw targeted early childhood education educators and assistants. So the knock for this was 4214 for early childhood educators. Again, they issued another 7 invitations to healthcare workers. So this draw targeted healthcare, the healthcare sector. And then finally, they had a draw that was targeting Knox 3114 and 3213. BC also had a draw on April 5th. So they will have different draws and they vary based on the category of workers that they're targeting. Um, so please make note of that. Most BC programs require you to have a job offer or be working in the province for most of the categories that they have. All right, so I see some folks here joining me online from Maryland. All right. So Aisha from Maryland. I see Wellington from the Bahamas, Guyana, Jamaica, Trinidad. Thank you guys for joining. I see Chioma from Nigeria. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to continue with the PNP draw. So the next one is Manitoba. So the province of Manitoba had an expression of interest draw. This happened on April 7th, and they invited skilled workers in Manitoba. They had a draw for those in the international education stream, as well as the skilled workers overseas stream. With Manitoba, you need to have a connection to the province in order to apply to the Manitoba PNP, right? So bear that in mind. And they issued 156 invitations to apply to the skilled workers in Manitoba stream, 34 to the international education stream, and also they issued 33 as well to the strategic recruitment initiative candidates. So these are people who were invited through a strategic recruitment initiative that was put on by the government of Manitoba. And you'll find that Manitoba and New Brunswick tend to have these recruitment drives or strategic recruitment initiatives where they are trying to source candidates. So candidates who may not be in the pool, but they locate them otherwise, or they may have like a separate event to get these candidates. Okay, so that was for Manitoba and British Columbia. Another thing that I wanted to highlight was the recent increase in the IRCC fees, or they're about to be increased. So the increase actually takes place on April 30th. IRCC has not really increased their fees in the past. And so in 2020, they increased the permanent residence fees to account for inflation for the first time. And this happened for the first time since 2002. And so since then, they announced that the fees would be increased every 2 years to adjust for inflation. So we did have a post about that. You'll note that the fees for some categories of applications will be going up. So that includes the right of permanent residence fee. The right of permanent residence fee, you don't really pay this until you have been granted permanent residence status, right? Your application is basically approved. You can pay it up front, or you can pay it at that time. So they have increased some of the fees for, these are mostly for permanent residents, right? So bear that in mind, that will be increased. Those increases will be effective April 30th. Then the other thing is Canada actually surpassed its target for the first quarter of 2022, right? So this is actually some good news. There has been, pauses in draws for certain categories. The pandemic has affected the number of invitations that are being issued and people being able to physically travel to Canada. So the fact that they, have been working at helping to clear the backlog of applications, this is actually good news. So they welcomed over 100, Canada welcomed over 108,000 permanent residents for the first part of 2022. And this is very significant, as I mentioned, because there's been a lot that's been happening, the immigration targets and levels and the inflow of people into Canada has definitely been impacted by the pandemic. So they surpassed the goal that they had set and welcomed over 108,000 permanent residents in the first part of 2022. And of course, Canada has also set some ambitious targets for permanent residents for this year in particular, right? So it would be very interesting to see how they are able to, or if they're able to reach those targets, considering everything that has been happening. Then in 2021, so that was last year, right? Canada welcomed over 405,000. So that was for the entire 2021, 405,000 permanent residents were welcomed into Canada. So considering for the first part of 2022, we're at 108. That's definitely on track. Then the other thing I wanted to note, in just keeping in line with that as well, they are also making provisions in the budget. So Canada, the government of Canada recently announced its budget for 2022. And with the tabling of the budget, we saw where there were amounts that were being allocated to support immigration, right? Because immigration is a huge economic driver for Canada. So in the budget, we're seeing that Canada they have committed to setting aside $385 million to facilitate the increased processing capacity for visitors, workers, so work permits, study permits from visitors, visitor visa for visitors, study permits, work permits, $385 million set aside for that. They also plan to invest $185 million to increase the support services that are available for immigrants as well and visitors to Canada. So some of you may or may not know that when you come to Canada as a permanent resident, there are support services, settlement services that are available, right, for new permanent residents. So the government has different agencies that their number one, our primary goal is to help you to settle successfully in Canada. And so there are settlement services that are available for new permanent residents. And so they are investing even more in helping people to settle. Some of these services might include support with finding employment, support with getting your credentials assessed, and also getting licensing in Canada, especially if you're working in or you're looking to work in a regulated profession. Of course, sometimes that might mean coming to Canada and having to get licensing in order to practice in your profession. So those are some of the support services that are offered to new immigrants that are coming into Canada, right? And in a part of the budget as well, they have dedicated some funds towards helping those who are fleeing the Ukraine and providing support to that means. And then finally, I also want to mention some of the recent changes that were announced to the temporary foreign worker program. So every year, thousands of workers come to Canada for the sole purpose of working, right? So they come whether as seasonal workers or they come on a year, 2-year, 3-year contracts in order to support the labor market in Canada. So Canada, as I mentioned before, relies heavily on immigration and foreign workers. The goal, however, has always been to bring people to Canada permanently, to support long-term investment into the labor force, right? So one are some of the changes that they're making to the temporary foreign worker program. They're actually easing a lot of the rules to make it easier for foreign workers to come to Canada to work, right? And to make the process less onerous for employers. One of those changes include the LMIA process. So LMIAs are being, the validity of the LMIAs is being increased from up from 9 months to 18 months. So the LMIA is the document that the government issues to employers that enables them to hire a foreign worker, right? Without that, LMIAs would be required for you to work in Canada, essentially, right? Without the LMIA, the employer would not be able to hire a foreign worker in most instances. It does not apply to every single instance because there are some LMIA exemptions, right? So the time for this, or the duration, prior to the pandemic, right, LMIAs were only valid for 6 months, and sometimes people did not get to apply for their work permit in time. So the long of it is that it's being extended to up to 18 months. So that's great. They're also extending the maximum duration of employment for certain workers. This is being extended from 2 to 3 years. So it means that the employers can hire certain workers for a longer term. This also helps the workers with their eligibility for permanent residence, right? So if you have more work experience in Canada, of course, that will contribute greatly to your ability to apply for permanent residence. There's also a cap that was made for seasonal workers, in terms of the duration that they can stay in Canada to work. And so they are also making changes to that. There will no longer be a limit on the number of positions, like low wage positions, that employers are able to hire. And they're also extending the duration for certain temporary foreign worker positions, most of these being seasonal. So that's being extended from 180 to 270 days. And also, the policy overall will make it a lot easier for employers in certain sectors, like the manufacturing sector, food services, accommodations. Those are usually some of the sectors that are most mostly impacted by the rules governing foreign workers, and those are usually the sectors who tend to hire from overseas, um, to support their labor force. And so it's becoming a lot easier. I know a lot of employers, even those that we work with, will benefit greatly from these changes and the initiative that's been taken by the government. So it is definitely a move in the right direction. And if you're looking to work in Canada, maybe this is the better time. Maybe this is the optimal time for you to explore that route. And of course, it requires a sound strategy, right? Having a strategy in place and knowing who you're approaching, knowing which employers are hiring, that sort of thing. But yeah, no would be definitely be the better time. A question that we also get to, where we shared a post recently about a family that was coming to Canada. So we had an approval for a student who is coming to study in Canada, and that student is able to bring along spouse and children. And so we got a lot of inquiries about that. And I definitely want to reiterate that it is possible. It is possible to bring your family with you to Canada if you're coming to study. There are requirements that you will have to meet. You have to prepare a strong, very solid application, right? That is touching on your eligibility. You have to put together a sound study plan. You want to ensure that you have your funds in place. And also you want to document any ties that you have to your home country, because generally your family plays a role in your ties. They're a part of your ties, right? So if you're uprooting your whole household to come with you to Canada, you must be able to still substantiate ties in your application. And so we were able to do just that for this family. And so the entire family were approved to come to Canada. They're starting school this spring. And it's just one of many successful cases. So those who have been inquiring, if you are looking for support with that sort of thing, with applying for your study permit, a spousal open work permit, permanent residence, well, feel free to reach out to us. Myself and my team will be happy to assist you. I see somebody's asking, how can I apply to come to Canada permanently? There are different permanent residence programs available. In fact, Canada has more than 80 different programs. So it's a matter of determining eligibility. And then from there, you can start to prep yourself for applying, right? So we talk more about that in what we do to help with applying to these programs. We offer consultations, right? So that's usually the first step. We do a consultation with the applicant or the person that's looking to come to Canada. We do an initial consultation to assess your eligibility. And then from there, we are able to make an assessment as to what will be the best pathway for you to take to come to Canada. And then we also are able to assist you with the process of applying and completing that entire process, right? So that's how it works. For more on that, visit our website at nccanadaimmigration.com or send an email to info@nccanadaimmigration.com. All right, guys, so that's all I wanted to touch on. We're actually having an information session, a 3 days of information sessions, and that's going to be held on April 25th to 27th. We'll be sharing the details on how you can register for that. So stay tuned to our social media pages. We'll be talking about permanent residence options on day 1. Day 2 will be about studying in Canada. Day 3 will be looking at working in Canada. What are the options available, as well as a Q&A. So if you are interested in migrating to Canada, working in Canada, studying in Canada, then you do not want to miss these sessions. More details about how you can register will be posted. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys and have a great rest of your day. Take care. I see Helen asking about consultation. Helen, if you visit our website, nccanadaimmigration.com, the details should all be there. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a blessed day.